What the fuck happened to you, or me, or us? Shit. Are we doing another Conan sequel? Hi, Misha here, and let's talk about some figures of Major Schaefer from NECA in the 7-inch line, Dutch from the original Predator. And I have kind of a before and after thing going on here. This is the briefing version, and this is pretty much the final battle, jungle disguise version. Why not? It's Schwarzenegger. What an interesting character. And these are quite interesting figures. I don't have many human types. For that I have the Black Series from Star Wars. But, yeah, we'll dive in, talk about them for a minute. Go from there. By the way, we already talked about Jungle Hunter, so you can refer back to that if interested. Let's dive in. First up, so-called Jungle Briefing Dutch. This was from the beginning of the film when he's meeting with Dylan, and, well, it was an exclusive to one of the Comic Cons limited release item. It makes sense. It's kind of a very specific scene, not exactly an action scene. It doesn't come with a lot of action accessories. In fact, it comes with a file folder, his briefing there, and it also comes with a map of the area that rolls out. And it comes with what's actually known as his M16, but really isn't. Let's jump back to that in a minute, though. Major Schaefer here was in Vietnam, served in Cambodia, kind of behind the lines, and then got out and started a private mercenary company. But interestingly, they were not interested themselves in jobs aside from like rescue and helping things, to make them firmly established as the good guys. This is where we get characters like Jesse Ventura and all that. And so they are military-esque, but kind of have their own equipment. And of course, he knew Dylan, Carl Weathers from Vietnam 2. Turns out he went CIA, which is part of the film. You know the deal. And so this is him before he gets into the jungle as such. So he's got pretty much military pants on, and just kind of a semi-decent, semi-formal jacket here. Now, NECA has done pretty much every look of Dutch from the film by now. There's several versions. There's Jungle Extraction, Jungle Patrol, Jungle Encounter, and each one's variations on a theme. Unfortunately, each one's getting quite expensive now. So I picked up the ones I could find for a decent price. And even though this is a limited release, he's actually one of the cheaper ones because of, he doesn't come with his other weapons. The standard version comes with a Desert Eagle, which is definitely not military issue. Also comes with a combat knife, and at least Jungle Extraction comes with a machete type. The others quickly drop this, unfortunately. And they all, at least up until the final one, come with this M16, or rather AR-15. Or rather, this is a Colt SP1. Though maybe in 1987, it should have been an A2. Let's discuss for a minute. While I don't own a Desert Eagle, no self-respecting person from my era would not have an SP1 or some kind of Vietnam-era M16A1. And that's what we actually have used in the film, although presumably modified for both blank fire and automatic fire, because the original SP1, here's mine, was of course the semi-automatic version only. It was different. Of course, just for one, there are only 2 positions. I've seen a lot of sites comment that it had the 3-prong replaced with a birdcage to make it look more like an A1. Actually, most SP1s had the birdcage. Only the first, 10, 12,000 SP1s had the 3-prong from the factory, but of course they're threaded. 20-inch barrel, 1 in 12 twist, unique handguards for that period, though Dutch's actually has a perforated kind of squared handguard because he has an M203 grenade launcher underneath, although in the film that too is actually just a dummy, a fake. And you can get kind of fake 37mm faux M203s for your M16 if you want. 20-round mag, which was standard, although I'm really surprised for a mercenary team that they didn't have 30s by this point. Now, while they might have selected the A1 over an A2, the A2 had 3-round burst, the A1 was automatic. Yes, I know, the M16A3 went back to full, but some people did prefer. Plus, this is a much lighter gun than the subsequent A2 with a shorter buttstock. I just think it's kind of neat that it was in the film and modified. There are a few ways to tell. For one, the SP1 had a unique push front pin, which was actually a double-headed screw originally, but I replaced mine. And of course, the big differences are the markings, and they're on the other side, so let's flip her over. Props to NECA, they really did get this right. They even put some patterning on the butt plate. And they got the pistol grip right, even with the small at the bottom. This one is an earlier one, so it has the ribbed rubber butt plate, but later ones would go to a hard plate with checkering and a trapdoor. And of course, no forward assist, whereas most M16A1s, of course, would have one. Now, the Air Force did not use forward assist, but I digress. And no brass deflector. That would appear with the A2. But what's unique to the SP1, there's no fence around the mag catch, and because of the unique front, there's no partial fence up here. That was actually done to house the detent and spring for the captive when you went to the M16E1, or rather, I should say XM16E1. Nerding out a bit, but really like these guns. And again, NECA, that's one reason I really wanted to get this. I was curious how close to authentic, and they did. They even got the shorter mag in there. Looks a little long for a 20, but not too bad. Looks a little short for a 30. Could be a 30, but I've noticed that with all these small scales, the magazines always look a little flatter and a little longer. It might supposed to be a 30. I'm having a hard time to tell. It's kind of in between. Either way, it'll take either one. They even got the sling right mounted on the bottom and then kind of on the side coming off because of the grenade launcher. This has the earlier sling. Later they would go to the seatbelt style. One of my favorite guns of all time. I really wish NECA would do a gun pack. They've done accessory packs, trophy packs in Predator, Alien 2. Wish they would do a gun pack, because there's a lot of neat guns in both franchises. But yeah, that's why I at least wanted one Dutch here with the gun, just to kind of show early. His shirt's a little bulky, but presumably he's got things on underneath it. And of course it's an overlay to an existing torso. But that's enough about him and his M16. Let's talk about the fight and the end. Alright, back to the figures. You know me, I gotta talk about what I want to talk about on this channel. It would be neat if I had the other Dutches. We have him kind of fully jacketed up with a vest and all of his military equipment. Then we have him kind of losing the jacket, still wearing the vest and a shirt. Then we have a version, which is, I believe, Encounter, where he's just got the vest on, and each time he kind of loses equipment. Wouldn't mind having these, but they are just pretty much the same. Then we get to the final one here, and this is the most unique of the figures. The bottom is pretty much the same, just different paint, but the upper body is just pretty much naked Arnold. Well, would be naked except for the mud. He also has matted up hair and a bit of a bloody face. Because, of course, this is after he goes over the waterfall, loses his equipment, what's remaining, and ends up accidentally covered in mud, and he realizes that the predator cannot see him. So this is him fighting very bare bones, kind of like some of the things in Prey. And I wasn't sure how I'd like this figure, but turns out I kind of do. Because he comes with a bit, and it's good to have before and after. To start with, on his body, there's a strap with some kind of the explosive leaf thing. Also, one of his few surviving pieces of kit, his combat knife. Not sure why it wasn't a bayonet, but oh well. He ties to a stick. And likewise, he uses his meager supplies to start a torch. Part of it is it's getting nighttime. Part of it is he wants to attract the predator when he's ready after setting out traps. And wasn't sure how I'd like the torch. I'm not really a big deal about blast effects and all that. But no, this is actually pretty neat. And you can kind of hold it with it back and him running, or kind of out like this, set up. And he comes with some other items too. That's pretty neat. For one, you have this stick with a explosive on the end. I actually can't remember if this was supposed to be a Claymore type grenade or a 40 millimeter. Would seem a little big for a 40 millimeter at this scale. Explosive stick either way. Then we have another stick here that would be more shot by the bow. Long skinny shaft with, that looks more like a 40 millimeter on the end where he kind of lights the jungle aflame. And then we get a bow and arrow. I went ahead and stuffed my arrows in the front just not to lose them. You do get 3 with a plastic bow and an actual kind of more rope than string. It is woven a bit. It's not plastic, and it's not just one single piece of straight string, so crudely tied as you would expect. And there's, like I said, a hole in the front. And you can put this around his arm or neck for display. So you can hold that, and I guess you could put this in with the arrows too. It's a little long though, holding these. But I kind of like the spear knife thing, and definitely the torch is necessary for the battle. And because he doesn't have much on him, articulation's pretty good. I don't know about all of these, but my left arm seems to want to bend up more than my right, but there's a bit of a flap behind, so I think if you position it a little better on this side, you can kind of overcome that flap. Hands move. This is before they did interchangeable hands. He did come out quite late in the series, so that's why you see more accessories and better articulation. I think he's got 20 points. At this time, the Predators were getting 20 or 25, maybe even up to 30. But since he is a smaller figure, I mean, Arnold is just over 6 foot in real life. So, of course, this is him overcoming the predator in the final battle. Him running away. Of course, he does get radiation poisoning. At least that's the lure. And he's one of the 2 survivors. Several great lines from Predator, like stick around and get to the chopper. Although, not that chopper. That would probably not be the one you'd want to get to. I don't know. Just having fun. And I thought I'd tie in a little bit of gun info for these guys. But yeah, my before and after Dutch. Wonder if they'll ever release an ultimate. That might be hard to do because you couldn't just swap hands and heads. The upper torso changes a lot, and even the lower does with the mud and dirt. You could probably do an ultimate kind of jungle version where you could remove the vest or something, but it would be hard to make this guy into this guy without a whole new everything, frankly. So that's why I kind of felt safe in these 2. Actually, for some reason, I do really like the file folder he comes with. I don't know why. It's also neat that it fits in his hands like he's reading it. It is kind of a plasticine material. It's not just straight cardboard. So it even has a little flap and paper clip. The map, of course, is just laminated paper. But the accessories that this guy comes with are surprisingly cool. Just wasn't sure because it's a lot of sticks. But it works. So what do you think? Again, they've released a lot of Dutches. Dutchie, which is your favorite? Let me know. With that, this is Misha. Catch you very soon next time.